Family Chiropractic. Thank you so much for logging on with me today. We are doing a webinar today on nourishing your nervous system. And really, this is what we are all about at Pure Light, is nourishing your nervous system. And so I'm going to talk about ways that you can nourish your body, your brain, and your nervous system on a daily basis to help you thrive and best adapt to stress in daily life and be your best for yourself and your family. So these are things that are really applying to grown-ups, to adults, but a lot of them can also obviously be applied to children as well. Each person is an individual with, unique health circumstances. So of course, they may not all resonate for you, but I'm going to give you, I have 13 actually listed here, 13 ways that you can nourish your nervous system on a day-to-day basis. So let's first define what your nervous system is. This is something I talk about all the time, but not everybody thinks about your nervous system or what it is. So when you think about your nervous system, think about your brain. And your spinal cord is an extension of your brain. And coming off of your spinal cord and your backbone are nerves that connect through into your body to every single cell, tissue, and organ in your body. And your brain and your body communicate with each other constantly to regulate every function of your body. So it's extremely important. It's our master control system of our entire being. And I like to say that the nervous system is the connection between spirit and matter because it's consciousness. Without your nervous system functioning, you don't have consciousness. Your spirit, who you are in this world, is expressed through your nervous system. Every single experience you have in life, internally and externally, is experienced through your nervous system. Your nervous system is basically who you are. And I'll never forget learning in anatomy class in chiropractic school how your nervous system is so intricate in terms of how many nerve cells connect to every single cell. So you have like trillions of cells in your body, and every single cell has at least 3 nerve connections. That's a lot of nerves. And so if you took away, this is a weird concept, but if you considered that every single cell in your body was gone, except your nervous system. So if your skin cells, your muscle cells, your bone cells, your organ cells, like every cell in your body was not visible except your nervous system, you would still look exactly like you, except you would be like a spiritual being. Like you would be able to like see through you, but you would still be recognizable as you. Isn't that like just mind blowing? I'm just like, it's amazing. So we are our nervous system. Our nervous system is us, and it's an extremely important part of our body. It's intricately and perfectly designed by our maker. And it's also, put under excess stress in our modern world. So we talk about stress. There's, stress is anything that your body has to adapt to. And there's good stress and bad stress. Like being pregnant is a good stress. You're growing a human being, but it's stress, right? It's hard work. Anybody who's gone through a pregnancy knows how hard it is, that first and last trimester especially, but you're literally exerting metabolic energy more than a professional athlete every single day in a 24-hour period through a pregnancy. But it's good stress, right? So there's good stress, and then there's bad stress. Bad stress is like chemical toxins, emotional trauma or grief. There's like physical stressors like car accidents. So we really break it down where there's like physical stressors, chemical stressors, and emotional stressors. And a lot of the stress that we experience in our world is bad. So I think that's why when you hear the word stress, you think bad, bad stress. So there's a lot of stress, good and bad, that our bodies have to adapt to on a everyday basis. And yes, our bodies are resilient and amazing and capable of doing these things, but they also can get overloaded. And so, in a little bit deeper definition of the nervous system, think about the unconscious part of your nervous system called the autonomic nervous system. So, this is the part of your nervous system that you don't have to think about. So, you don't have to tell your heart to beat. You don't have to tell your lungs to breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. You don't have to, if you're pregnant, tell your body to grow a baby. You don't have to, even when you're like, oh, I need to go walk into the kitchen, you don't have to tell your muscles to activate in certain ways and move in certain ways. If you are being chased by a dog, like, you don't have to tell your body to go into fight or flight. It just happens. Hopefully, in a healthy body, you don't have to tell your body to go to sleep. When you're tired, you fall asleep. So all of these things are regulated by this unconscious autonomic nervous system. And so the nervous system, in this sense, has really two branches, three technically with the vagus nerve, social vagus, but we're going to talk about that we have other webinars on that. We're going to specifically talk about sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic, think fight or flight response. So that stress response where you need to survive, you need to run as fast as you can or fight or just go into that fight or flight mode. And then you have parasympathetic, think rest and digest. So this is where, your body is relaxing, calm, ready for sleep, just really calm, intimate, like, experience. So you have a stress response and the relaxed response in the brain. And these are both important. The fight or flight response isn't necessarily bad. It's a vital response that we have in our body to be able to adapt to stress. However, when we handle too much stress every day, all day, physical, chemical, emotional, and then you add technological stress on top of that and environmental stressors otherwise, then you can get stuck in fight or flight. So this is called being sympathetic dominant. The majority of people in our world right now, in our modern society, are in sympathetic dominance. And we know this because this is something we measure every single time a new patient comes into Pure Light. We measure heart rate variability, which measures the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system and how well somebody is adapting to stress, how much energy reserves they have in their nervous system. And then we also measure the stress that shows up infrared, heat reading temperatures along the nervous system, and we can see this overload of stress that builds up in the body. And most, and I really mean most, like almost all people are stuck in this sympathetic dominant place, and it's not sustainable. It's not healthy. It's going to wreck your health. It's going to wreck your quality of life, and that's not what we want. So this is literally what we talk about all day, every day at our office with patients. And we help people shift out of this sympathetic dominant state. This is our goal. We want people to be in a balanced state in their nervous system where if they need to go into sympathetics, they can, but they come right out of it and they can go into parasympathetics or rest and digest really well. They can emotionally regulate well. They digest their food well. They sleep well. They don't have excess inflammation and pain in their body. It's all related. Chronic disease is almost all related to stress. So this is extremely important, and this really applies to everybody. We also specialize in seeing children in our office, babies and children. Even babies and children are stuck in this sympathetic dominant state. Babies and children today, whether it's birth interventions, trauma, or just emotional, physical, and chemical stress, kids today experience significantly more than we did growing up. So I grew up in the 90s. Whether you grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you experienced less stress than people growing up in the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. It gets more and more and more. And this is showing up with increased autism rates and chronic disease in children. And we find with the work that we can do in our office and throughout our profession, we see colleagues doing this work in their offices and other professions as well, focused on healing the nervous system is huge. So we're going to talk a lot about all of this and ways that you can every day add things in. You don't have to apply all of this all at once, but little by little, adding all or some of these things into your daily life will help you and your family regulate and adapt and be the healthiest versions of yourself. So how do we nourish your nervous system? Let's jump right in. First things first, I am a family chiropractor. I'm a brain-based, neurologically based chiropractor. That's what we do at Pure Light. First things first, you need to be getting adjusted by a chiropractor who's trained in looking at the brain and the nervous system. Not every chiropractor looks at this. Some chiropractors are more focused on physical symptoms such as pain and all of those things. We look at those things. Those things are important to us, but we don't focus on them. You want somebody who's trained, who went to a specific schooling to learn more about the nervous system. And if you need help in your area finding a chiropractor who does this, let us know. At Pure Light, if you're in Central Oregon, this is our thing. We look at the brain and the nervous system. Getting adjustments dramatically heals your body and dramatically increases your adaptability to stress by nourishing your nervous system. So when you have physical, chemical, and emotional stress, it's going to show up as stress in your spine, in your nervous system, and we can measure this. And we're trained, myself, my husband, Dr. David, and our other wonderful chiropractor, Dr. Liz, are trained at analyzing and locating the stress in your body and gently and effectively clearing it and allowing your body to integrate it so that you don't live with these traumas and stressors in your day-to-day life that show up as pain and symptoms and sleep issues and digestive issues and, in kiddos, behavioral issues, emotional dysregulation. All of these things are common, but they're not normal. So the adjustments are not the traditional crack pop adjustments that we do. They're very gentle, nourishing to the body, the brain, and the nervous system. We're very specific on what we adjust and why we adjust and when we adjust, and the body responds beautifully. It's proven through research that every single chiropractic adjustment stimulates the frontal lobe of the brain. The frontal lobe of the brain is the higher function centers of your brain that get turned off when you get into primitive stress mode. So when you go into chronic fight or flight sympathetic mode in your body, you turn on the lower brain centers. So the primitive or lizard brain, we call it. You don't want to be stuck in that primitive brain. You want to turn on the higher functioning of the brain. Literally, MRIs show higher brain functioning immediately following and for a while after an adjustment. Neuroplasticity increases significantly after an adjustment. Neuroplasticity is the nervous system's ability to change and mold. So children have neuroplasticity at an excellent rate. Like, think about learning a new language. How easy is it to learn a new language? It's not that easy when you're an adult. When you're a kid, you have such neuroplasticity and ability to learn and change in your nervous system that you can learn a new skill or a new language, new musical instrument a lot easier when you're younger. But when you get older, that neuroplasticity is still there. It's just harder to stimulate. Adjustments stimulate it. There's actually such research backing the neuroplasticity after adjustments that professional athletes, if they need to hone in a new skill or learn a new skill or focus on mastering something, they're recommended to do it within 30 to 60 minutes post chiropractic adjustment because the brain's neuroplasticity is at an all-time high. So that can apply in your life too, even if you're not a professional athlete. If you're a student and you're focusing on studying something, or if you're an athlete or musician or just day-to-day life, if you want to get something done really well, do it within an hour of your chiropractic adjustment. Schedule your adjustments so that you can do that in time. Working out is more effective, preventing injuries. I like to get adjusted before I do a workout because it really helps me feel more balanced and aligned and have that greater neuroplasticity and my body's ability to adapt and change. That's what working out is it's adapting. When you work out and you push your body, you're pushing your body in a good stress way so that you can grow stronger muscles and have more endurance and more cardiovascular health and overall well-being. So getting adjusted, I literally could talk for 30 minutes just about that, but that's not going to be the whole topic of this. Getting adjusted, extremely important for nourishing your nervous system. Number one, I would literally, if that's all you do from this webinar, you're making a huge life-changing difference in your health. So wellness chiropractic care and restorative chiropractic care essential. Okay, next is nutrient-dense whole foods. Nutrient-dense whole foods, we all know we need to be eating these. Lots of green leafy vegetables filled with nutrients, good servings of fruits and whole foods, good sources of protein, clean, healthy protein, and a balanced protein, fat, carb intake. I'm not really a proponent of the strict like ketogenic or weight loss or low carb stuff, especially if you're a female. It can wreak havoc on your hormones and your emotional health. I would stick with balance, whole foods, organic if possible, local organic if possible. And truly, it's worth the investment to buy the good quality stuff if it's within your budget. But the biggest thing is non-GMO. So if you Can't buy the organic, at least try to make sure that it's not genetically modified. More and more research is coming out to validate that genetically modified foods are carcinogenic and they're toxic. They alter our DNA and they cause chronic long-term health issues, and it's not a laughing matter. It's really serious. And the glyphosate that is sprayed on these vegetables and fruits and grains are so bad for our health and our children's health and our pregnancies, and we need to avoid them at all costs. So, getting all the nutrients, vital nutrients you can from your healthy foods is extremely nourishing to your nervous system. But specifically, fruits and vegetables are really, your nervous system just really loves those. So, definitely make sure you're getting lots of those. Um, and along with the decreasing the GMOs and the glyphosate, you want to decrease and detox chemical stressors as much as possible. So, avoiding glyphosate and GMOs, you want to avoid medications. If you need some sort of help medication wise, this is out of my scope to really tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you that there are herbal, natural, and homeopathic options that, if it's not a severe situation, can be extremely helpful. So avoid the toxic pharmaceuticals as much as possible. Look at your relationship with caffeine and alcohol. You want to make sure it's healthy. If you are especially a young parent, I get the need to have some caffeine in your life, but don't abuse it. If you are a regular alcohol drinker, I urge you to really look at that and look at why you're a regular alcohol drinker, because alcohol can sometimes be used as a way to try to calm the nervous system and like relax, but actually it's stimulating and toxic to the nervous system. So even though you may think that you're calming yourself and relaxing and having some downtime by drinking a beer or a glass of wine regularly, it's actually toxic to your nervous system, and it's not going to get you to your health goals, and it's not going to be nourishing. It may seem it in the moment, but look at your relationship to caffeine and to alcohol and other substances. These are substances. This also includes sugar. Look at your relationship to sugar. Sometimes it can be that like, oh, I just need to like have something to feel good real quick, and I get that, like a piece of chocolate here and there, but all of these things are substances that create an addictive pattern in the brain. And same thing with cannabis is another commonly used one to think like, oh, it's just going to help me sleep. It's just going to help me relax. Also toxic to the nervous system, not nourishing. It's deceptive because it seems like it is, but all of these things are not nourishing. So I urge you to look at your relationship to caffeine, alcohol, cannabis, and other substances, and sugar, and make sure it's a healthy one. And again, that's a personal conversation with yourself and your healthcare provider. And for those who come to see us, we're always down to talk with you about it and talk about ways to help you with that. So you want to decrease chemical stressors from your food supply, your water supply. Drinking clean, healthy, pure, filtered water is extremely important. Something that's overlooked by a lot of people. Ditch the bottled water. It's toxic. It's sitting in toxic plastic. Ditch the plastic as much as possible, first of all. And second of all, don't drink your water out of it. Get something like a Berkey or even like a less expensive quality water filter will help hugely. Also, having a shower filter on your shower decreases the steamed chlorine. So when you take chlorine, which is in our public water, when you steam chlorinated water, it actually is carcinogenic, which means it's been shown to cause cancer. And then that's getting absorbed right into your bloodstream, right into your kids and your baby's bloodstream. So get a quality shower filter head and drink quality water. Can't stress that enough. If you need any more guidance on any of that, please let me know. And then avoiding toxins in your home and your cleaning supplies, your laundry detergents, your makeup, your lotions, skincare products, your shampoos, conditioners, all of those things, extremely toxic. You can get really good natural options. Cleaning products, we love Branch Basics in our house, in our office. There are also a lot of other good options for makeup. I love Crunchy is a great brand. There's lots of other good ones too. 100% pure, primally pure. There's so many good options. If you want any recommendations for this stuff, you can always reach out to us personally, comment on this webinar, send us an email. We can always help guide you to ditch the toxic stuff in your house and that you put on and on your body and in your body and clear out those toxins. That's going to really nourish your nervous system just by detoxing. When you eliminate toxins, your body's natural detox processes will help clear them out. There's also ways that you can also enhance your detoxification processes. And we work one-on-one with people who need those things, and we can help you with those things. So number 4, movement and exercise, extremely nourishing for your brain and your body. We all know this. It's so important to move. You also want to be mindful not to overstress your body with exercise. There's definitely a limit that can get passed where you're taxing your adrenal system and your stress response in your body when you're pushing yourself too hard. So really finding balance in your movement routine, mixing it up, maybe do weight training a couple days a week, do spin a couple days a week, go for a jog once or twice a week. Do Pilates, do some stretching and yoga, bar classes, just mix it up. Don't do one thing too much and don't push yourself to the point of feeling like you're going to vomit or exhausted or that you just like are really maxing yourself, because that's not going to nourish your nervous system. If you're a professional athlete and that's what you do for a living, like that's a little bit different. You need to nourish your nervous system in other ways, big time. But on a day-to-day basis, especially if you're a mom or young dad and you have lack of sleep and you're strained in other ways, pushing yourself with exercise may seem like a good thing in some ways, but it's not going to be beneficial long term. So healthy movement and exercise. And again, this is something we work one-on-one with people to help them really figure out what's best for their bodies. Okay, and then number 5, getting in enough minerals and electrolytes into your diet is also something that's overlooked. Drinking a lot of really good water, awesome. Making sure you're also getting the electrolytes. I really like coconut water, is a really good way to naturally get those electrolytes, and stay away from Gatorade and anything with natural flavorings or unnatural flavorings and colorings, artificial, no bueno. And getting minerals is really important. So you can get these through trace mineral supplements, or you can also do it through salt. Putting some salt in your water can be really helpful. Having balanced minerals and electrolytes has huge benefits for your health and also your wellness, your mental, emotional wellness. It balances neurotransmitters in your brain and also helps regulate every function of your body. So electrolytes and minerals are really, really important. And with the balanced whole foods diet, these electrolytes and minerals and the movements and the exercise, the detoxing, all of this also helps balance your blood sugar. Your blood sugar can really go up and down, and this is extremely taxing on your nervous system. So having a balanced blood sugar is really important, especially for mamas who are pregnant, postpartum, and just sustaining through life. Having balanced blood sugar is really, really important. And this is something that you can monitor and enhance and heal through all of these healthy changes to nourish your nervous system. Other ways to nourish your nervous system are the intake of adaptogenics. So adaptogens are things that are either herbal, so from plants. They can be glandular, which are from the glands of animals, or they can be mushrooms. So these are the most common adaptogens that you see. They're all beneficial. If you're pregnant or nursing, there's certain ones that you can and cannot take. But in general, ashwagandha is a common one for herbals. And then glandulars like bovine, adrenals, hypothalamus, kidneys, things like that. And then mushrooms, there's a whole allure of mushrooms that can be really beneficial and adaptogenic for your body. So this is a whole other webinar we could talk about. And again, we work one-on-one with people, and there's also lots of other providers and supplements and things that you can look into to help with those. They regulate and decrease that cortisol or stress hormone response in the body. So supporting sleep is super duper important. Getting the quality sleep that you need. And if you're not, that means your nervous system is not nourished. If you have a baby or a young child who's waking you up at night, that's another story, obviously, and you need to nourish your nervous system in other ways to help you adapt to the stress of lack of sleep. But if you don't have anything interrupting your sleep, get to bed by 10 p.m. and try to get 7 hours of sleep. 6 and under is a little bit not enough. 7 to 8 are the best hours for most people. Getting sunshine as soon as possible when you wake up in the morning is really, really good for your nervous system. That early morning light and also sunset, that evening light is really nourishing for your nervous system. There's a reason why we enjoy it so much, right? Like everybody loves a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset. It actually activates the pineal gland in your brain and makes happy hormones and helps your nervous system. It's really nourishing. So if you can, especially in these nicer seasons of weather and early light, when you wake up in the morning, get out and just sit in the sun and get that sunshine. No sunglasses, just soak it in. No sunscreen, just soak it in and just enjoy it. So supporting sleep is really important. And with that sunshine, you want to be getting sunshine throughout the day. You want to be making sure you have adequate vitamin D levels. This is really important. Supplementing can be beneficial, but getting that sunshine directly is really, really important. If you are putting on sunscreen, avoid the toxic stuff and try to let your skin, depending on your skin tone, try to get enough sun without sunscreen to not burn as much as possible. And there's also a lot of research that if you have a healthy diet filled with lots of fruits and lots of healthy vegetables, you're actually more resistant to getting burnt and your body can adapt and be in the sun for longer. So it's all connected there. Infrared red light therapy is something that you get from the sun naturally, but it's also another therapy that I know a lot of people love to do. So that can be really nourishing to your nervous system as well. Um, Essential oils are really, really nourishing for the nervous system. I love essential oils. I really like doTERRA. I've also used Young Living and some other brands. There's some great ones. doTERRA is really clean and their blends and their oils are just so pure and beautiful. I like to diffuse them around our house and in our office. I like to apply them topically. There are some that are more internal that you can take as a supplement. They're amazing. We have a couple mamas locally who host a free doTERRA class at Pure Light once a month, the last Thursday of every month. So stay tuned for those. They're really, really great and hopefully you can learn all sorts of things on how essential oils can nourish your nervous system. Okay, supporting your lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is basically the fluid system in the body that flushes out toxins and also brings nutrients and minerals throughout the body with the blood. So you want to make sure that the lymphatics don't get stagnant, which I think is a really chronically common issue. So exercise is a really great way to get the lymphatics moving, but also there's other ways. So dry brushing is literally taking a dry bristle brush and brushing your skin lightly a couple times a week before you get in the shower. And this can really dramatically help flush toxins out of your body and increase circulation, increase collagen production, and just really, really beneficial for your health. It's an ancient Chinese medicine technique that's extremely important. Gua sha is another one. This is GUASHA, gua sha, and it's also a way of similar to dry brushing, flushing the lymphatic system. You can do it on your body, you can do it on your face to help flush out the stagnation under your eyes and in your cheeks and that puffiness. If you have puffiness in your face in the mornings, that's a sign of lymphatic stagnation. And adding in gua sha can really, really help. Seeing a massage therapist who's trained in gua sha can really help as well. Massage is another really great way to clear out the fascial system and the lymphatic system in the body. Okay, and then hot and cold therapy. So hot and cold therapy is what it sounds like. This can be as simple as you taking a hot shower and then turning on the cold water and taking a cold shower. That hot cold is really, really good for your heart and your cardiovascular system. It's really good for your thyroid and your metabolism. It's really good for your nervous system. So that can be as simple as that. If you have the ability to access a dry sauna and then a cold plunge, that's even better. We have an amazing friend in town who makes mobile saunas, and we rented a sauna from him like a couple months ago, and we had a cold plunge. And being in the hot wood burning sauna and then getting into this cold plunge outside on a cold night I felt so nourished. My nervous system was like heightened. I was like, this is so healing and powerful. But again, hot shower, cold shower can be really beneficial as well. But if you have access to that dry sauna or infrared sauna and a cold plunge, you're going to be doing great there. And then last but not least, in terms of nourishing your nervous system, slowing down, having time of prayer, journaling, meditation, and breath work is extremely good for you and nourishing for your nervous system. There's different types of breath work, and you can find all sorts of tutorials on this depending on what season of life you're in with pregnancy, postpartum, or what level your stress is. There's certain breathing exercises that are more beneficial for you at certain times. Again, we can work with you one-on-one with this, but breath work, meditation, prayer, stretching, yoga type movements, all really, really good. So I know I blew through those really fast, but I've been actually talking for about 30 minutes. So thank you for following along. I hope that you can apply some of these things. Keep us posted. Which things have you applied or will apply, and how are they helping you? We'd love to hear feedback. If you have any other ways that you found are really nourishing for your nervous system to add to this list, please post it in the comments, share. We love that. We love to hear about all of them. And we are always here to help guide you in your journey of nourishing your nervous system so that you can be the best version of you for yourself, your family, your community, and the world. So thank you for taking the time to take care of you. And we are honored to be on this journey with you. Thanks again for coming on with me. Have a great